Welcome back to the Joust About Careers podcast. This episode features the highlights of the conversation with Michael Caris, a 2010 Van Buren graduate who is a business manager for SRC Worldwide Incorporated and owner of MC Golf Performance and Buckeye Rental. The highlights focus on the busyness of a typical day for Michael, how relationships have led to opportunities, how his experiences led him to entrepreneurship, and much more. If you want to learn more about Michael's career journey, you can always watch or listen to his full interview. And if you find this podcast useful, please share it with someone else who could benefit from it. Enjoy the highlights, and I'll see you here next Monday for a brand new episode. Have a great week.
I would say most of my day would be developed to SRC Worldwide. That is I would say my day job in that sense. So I come in most days between a 7 to 2 or a 7 to 3 is kind of my SRC time. That being said, my Buckeye rental company, most of my drop-offs for the dumpster rentals are AM. So that's where if I have a drop-off that day and I don't have an employee to handle that for me, I will do that drop off, which is nice. They're usually around a 6 a.m. or a 7 a.m. drop off. That way I can be in the office by 8, depending on the location. And then also with Michael Caris Golf Performance, pretty much an homage to my decade plus golf career in that sense as a teaching professional full time. Maintain a client book still of around 25 clients on a weekly basis that I work with, all PM or weekend times. Most of them are either high school or collegiate players that I've worked with since they were 5 to 8 years old. It's just kind of more of that friendship bond there. I would say that's why I've maintained most of them with having a very limited schedule to teach because it's basically between 4 to 7 p.m. on nights during the week. And then weekends, Saturdays are really devoted to golf and college football. You don't need a lot of sleep when there's caffeine in the world. No, I'm only kidding there. No, it's really prioritizing things and just really saying, okay, if I don't get this done today, is it the end of the world? Because in my eyes, if it's get something done that can wait till tomorrow morning or spend time with my daughter and or my wife, it's a pretty easy call there to spend time with my family. So that's really where it comes down to just prioritizing. I have probably 3 apps with lists that if I don't write it down, I probably will forget it just because I have a lot going on and some things are in one ear process and then out the other after I'm done with that information. So really just being religious to a calendar too. And sometimes you don't want to do it. But you have to, and you just wake up early, which is nice because my wife on the weekends will sleep in, and our daughter thankfully sleeps very well. So I'll just wake up early around 5 or 6 and get things done before they wake up. Early golf was where I learned it really well. I guess I'll backtrack. My dad is where I learned it really well when just the one thing he always did well in sales that I never really understood until I got older was people just liked him. And he was trustworthy. And it was one that people, now I know obviously as being older, yeah, when you trust people, you're going to go back to them almost every time.
Right.
And that's really where it kind of stuck in that with golf was I can talk. I talk to a brick wall sometimes, my wife will say, but it was always just, I'm a very curious person. So I would always ask why. And I wasn't afraid to ask people smarter than me. I like being not the least intelligent one in the room, but I don't want to be the smartest one in the room because I'm not going to learn anything in that sense. But then it's also, okay, how do you make the people in that room stay? And that's where it comes down to you're building relationships and you can grow anything with knowing people.
Right.
If they support you in the right way, obviously.
Right.
But yeah, that's where it truly is who you know, but also how you maintain the knowing them in that relationship to where it's not just a one-way street to where you're always asking for them. And then when they come back, no, I can't help. There's always give and take. So that's where I feel like that's the one thing that gets missed sometimes by people is, well, I have that relationship, I made it, but they're not fostering it. I will say anyone that wants, no college is going to make you good at teaching. You have to really go out and just watch people, and you have to watch a lot of different coaches because you can teach golf a million different ways. It's really being able to know so many different methods that when you meet that obstacle student that doesn't fit your criteria for teaching, you know how to translate it to them. Ironically, I talk to my dad a lot. I think of my dad, who's not a good golfer, plays a lot of golf, but he's not that good of a golfer, to where it's working with him. Yeah, it's not going to be as hard to where you could work with a good golfer that has a lower back fusion, and it's going to be easier to work with the bad golfer than the golfer that has the physical limitation. So that's kind of where it does open more doors to where then you're starting to see, okay, well, how do you look at this? There's no cookie cutter way to put everyone in. It's okay, how do you take what they already have, nurture that, and then grow from there? Mm-hmm. So that's where it really, I would say the college gives you the connections to do that. Okay. Just like any college, but it's like an internship, I guess you could say. Right. In that sense, you're just interning for that golf pro. I've always wanted to be my own boss. I'm stubborn enough that I can always find a problem with someone I worked for type person to where I just wanted it to be my way. But that being said, I also had to learn from a lot of good people, a lot of bad people to see, okay, what's going to work, what's not. That being said, it's not going to be perfect by any means, but I would have been going in a lot more blind. And I probably wouldn't have had the guts to do it, to be quite honest, because right. a paycheck's very comforting.
Yes, it is.
It's very nice when I get paid every Friday. It's like, okay, this is sweet. Because I haven't taken a paycheck from my Buckeye rental yet. I probably won't, just because I want to grow it more right. for the next year. Right. And so that's where you have to be mentally prepared for that of, okay, we got to put a lot of money into this, and the ROI is going to be zero for a little while.
Right. Right.
Actually quite negative, but I think it's worth it because it's I get to do what I think I want to do after just experiencing life and work. And two is my daughter, and we actually have another one on the way. We just found out. Cool. So as our kids grow up, it's kind of one that I want them to work for other people first. I don't want them to work for me first. I want them to actually learn things, but they can see that if you put your mind to it and you take risks, calculated risk, you can be successful. It's just you're going to work, and your cell phone's never going to turn off. And I've missed a lot of Browns games this year. I wish I could have gone to, and it just happens, but it's well worth it. Pay attention and try. I was very nonchalant in high school and was just kind of, hey, I like sports. I can stay eligible and cool. But it was never the hypotheticals didn't really please me. It was kind of, okay, how am I going to use? I didn't translate the hypotheticals in education to the real world.
Right.
Now I look back and I'm like, that made a lot of sense. So just being a little more cognizant, giving teachers a little more credit. That, hey, they're there to educate me, and I don't know everything at 16 years old. So
if you liked this Joust About Careers episode, you can explore previous episodes and highlights to learn about even more careers of Van Buren graduates. To be sure you don't miss upcoming episodes, please click subscribe on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform so you'll know when the next episode is released. Thank you for spending a portion of your day with us, and we hope you will continue to prepare for your future by learning just about careers.